Even if we know it is not pleasing to God, yet we give ourselves into it. This is what Ahab did. He gave it. He married Jezebel. May have seemed good to him, but it was not good in the eyes of God. It was the beginning of his problems. You know, so many times we think, well, this is going to make me happy. This is going to give me exactly what I was looking for. It was the beginning of his misery. So, in chapter 18 of 1 Kings, and Ahab called Obadiah, which was the governor of his house. Now Obadiah feared the Lord greatly. For it was so, when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water. It was a great famine in the land. Jezebel took over. She was a queen of Israel. At this time, the kingdom was divided. So this was the northern tribe, the northern portion of Israel. So we had the 10th tribe, which was known as Israel, to the north, and the south as Judah. And so Jeroboam established this kingdom, and so many kings came along. This was Ahab's turn as king over that kingdom. And the Lord was not happy with him. Not only did he marry a stranger or a woman that served other gods, but he allowed her to convince him to walk away from his God, to convince him to build groves to her gods and temples to her God, and convince that whole nation to worship and serve Baal. Remember when Solomon was getting old and he had so many wives, they controlled everything that he did, and he built temples and so forth for them. This man was not in that kind of position. He just gave himself over to worshiping false God. God was not very pleased with him. Jezebel killed the prophets. She was responsible because she wants to elevate her God. And the way to do that is to suppress the God of Israel, to get rid of the God that led Israel all through these years. And Ahab went along with it. Here is this brave man who hid some of the prophets from Jezebel. He probably did not even let her know that he was one of God's, willing to walk out there and serve God privately, secretly, being afraid of Jezebel, the kind of a person she was. She was able to convince her husband to do whatever she wanted him to do. In 19 and verse 1 of the first Kings, and Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. And Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah, saying, So let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life and came to Bathsheba, which belonged to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a juniper tree. Right. And he requested for himself that he might die. And he said, It is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. Now, what happened here? See, Jezebel's God, Ethelbal's God, was put under a test, a trial, to prove to Israel that their God is God, which is Baal, or the God of heaven. They failed miserably. Well, of course, because they made their God, right? So stone and wood, if you make it, guess what? It will only do what you want it to do, right? You make a Kia and you put it up against a Lexus, guess what? Right? The Kia it's only made to go 90 miles an hour. Really? 90. While the Lexus can go 290. Burn out a Kia in no time, right? So it's made to go that distance. You created that way, that's what it will do. God, the God of heaven, there's nothing He cannot do. He makes everything. He makes the wood, He makes the stone that people take and make God. So they were put to the test. And they failed. And so what Elijah did, killed all the 450 prophets of Baal. And how many prophets of God was there? It was him alone, standing there in that contest. And he prevailed. Licked up the offering and the water and burned the wood and everything. Baal and the 450 prophets, they called upon their God, they cut themselves with knives all day, asking Baal to do something. Could not do anything because they did not make Baal to do that. But God listened to Elijah. And Elijah called upon God. And when Jezebel heard, she was not convinced that this Elijah God is God. She was convinced, I'm going to finally get this guy. This is my chance to get him. And Jezebel sent a letter to him saying, watch it, Elijah. I'm after you. No one has been able to escape me. Watch it, I'm coming. Elijah knew what kind of a person she was. She was a Jezebel. And there's nothing will stop her. And so he took off. Isn't that incredible? How in the Spirit of God we can do so great things, and in ourselves we can be so fearful of things. And he showed his real human side. He ran for his life. He called upon God. Can't do this. Can't do this. It's just too much. I've gone through the famine with them. I have to be fed by a raven. I have to be given water. I have to be, this woman saved my life. It just seems so much for this man. God had something better for him. And he had a final outcome for Jezebel as well. Just as we read in Revelation, brethren. But she didn't stop there, Jezebel just continued going on and on. She seduced God's people, and more she became more powerful. In chapter 21 of 1 Kings, there was a man there called Naboth with a beautiful vineyard, and Ahab wanted it. Why? Maybe for his business, commerce, and so forth. Maybe it was an easy path for him to do his business with other nations. However, he wanted that vineyard, and Ahab refused to sell it to him. And so Ahab went home feeling so defeated that he won't even eat. So look at verse 4. Ahab came into his house of chapter 21, heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my father. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would eat no bread. But Jezebel his wife came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit sad, that thou eatest no bread? He said, Because, Naboth, he won't give me sell me his vineyard. Start complaining to her. And so Jezebel listened to him. And verse 7, Jezebel, his wife, said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. I'll do it. So what did she do? She wrote letters to Ahab in Ahab's name. She's lying here. And sealed them with his seal. And sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote, proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people, and sent men to lie against him, men of Belial before him, and bear witness against him. This they did. This they did. They did exactly as she wanted them to do. In verse 14, then they sent Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, arise and possess the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give me for money. See? For Naboth is not alive. He's dead. Isn't that what she said to him? She said, I will give you that vineyard of Naboth. She said that, right? Now, it come through. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it. Brethren, that's the Jezebel that we know. You know, so when someone referred to one as a real Jezebel, this is the person they're going back to. Controlling person. Can't always use certain words here. Right? She's very controlling. She will have it one way or another. Doesn't matter if she has to take you out of the way. It's a good lesson for us. Because if we cover too much, it might mean that we can kick people off the New Jerusalem to get what we want, knowing fully well that we won't get there. Right? Bump people off. Take what they have because you think you can do better with it. And this is what Jezebel would do, not only for herself, she did it for her husband. It's unreal. It's very cruel what she did. Create a lie against this man and murder this man. Oh my goodness. Good, Ethan. Thank you very much. I needed that. It's a little more work. This is we see exactly what happened here, the kind of a person Jezebel is. So the Lord wasn't going to let that go. Wasn't going to let that go. So he sent his prophet to him. And let's pick it up in verse 21. Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off Ahab from Ahab, him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel. And I will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahijah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger and make Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also the Lord said, the dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Right? Exactly. So you so wanted that place, so wanted that vineyard. You kill for it, and she will die there. But in the most despicable ways one can die. Dogs will eat her. Dogs will eat her. Very sad. I take you back to Revelation, because we see Jezebel, ancient Jezebel. This is last day Jezebel. The practices of Jezebel then, persuasive, seductive, teaching, controlling, murdering. We see that here to the church in Thyatira.